Hi, it's Mike of Pro Steel Products. Today's video we're going to be installing the pack out bracket that I made custom for the KRX 1000. What you're going to need is a 12mm and a 13mm socket, and that's basically it, because everything else is going to be 4 bolts to take out, 4 bolt and spacers to put in, and 4 bolts to put in, and you'll be ready to go. So this is the D-ring mounting system for your machine right now. We're going to be taking this bolt and these 2 back here for the D-rings on each side, and that's where you're going to be mounting this at. So let me get these out real quick. Okay, once you take these out, you'll notice that there's a black washer under there, and this bolt you won't need, because I'm going to supply you with the hardware to put this back together. One thing very important I want to show you is down in here when you take it out, there is a spacer right there that will stay there, because that will level out this plastic to give it a good smooth area. Those spacers will be on each one of these, and it's stuck to this one right here, so just pry it off, put it back down in the hole, and then you'll be good to go. You're going to save these D-rings, and the bolts and the washers you're not going to be using. Save that. This washer and bolt. And that D-ring, and all these washers and bolts you're not going to be using, because we're going to supply you with the new stuff. So what you're going to do, you take your hardware package, and you have your spacers, 4 spacers, 2 large, 2 small, 2 long bolts, and 2 shorter bolts. So we'll open this up, and without dropping everything, you're going to take the large spacer and put it in the back. This is going to be your trickiest part to get these lined up. And you're going to put that in back. And then you take your 2 long bolts. I'm going to show you here. So you got 2 longer and 2 that are slightly shorter. The longer ones are going to go in the back. So these we're going to set off to the side. And we're going to take your mounting plate, and you're going to set it in here sideways like this, and let it come right down on top of that spacer. Now you're going to take your bolt. Now, these are in the way. Now if you notice, there's a flat bottom. That's going to go down. Don't put it in upside down like that, or it won't sit right. So it has to go like that. The ones in the back, I put the D-ring against the wall. So what you do is just put it through and try and go right down through that spacer and just get it started finger tight. And it's going to sit just like that. Once you get that started, you can start the other side. Now remember, the flat edge goes down. Stick it in there, and make sure you get that bolt going through that spacer. And then line it up. You can push down on the plate to give you some room, and just wiggle it a little bit, and you should be able to get them started. Okay, now that you got it started and you got these towards the back, you can do the front. Now the front's a little easier. You take your spacer and one of the bolts and one of these. Remember the flat edge. I always put these in this way, pointing inward. So you're going to lift this up slightly, put your spacer in and get it lined up. Put the bolt down through, make sure it goes through the spacer. And you can move that around a little bit to get it started. Okay, now you'll take your other spacer and bolt, and lift this up slightly and put your spacer in right on top of that one. Line it up a little bit. Through the spacer and get it started. Just wiggle it around a little bit, it'll go. Alright, once you get them all started, then you can just crank them down. And we're going to cheat and use the impact. So when you do this, if it's bowed up like that, just push it down as you tighten them down. And you need a 13 millimeter instead of a 12. So we'll change that out to 13 millimeter. And the installation of your mounting plate is complete. Now, all you have to do is just mount your boxes. You can either put a double wide box or single boxes like I have. You line up this first groove there and you press down and it'll compress that lock. Then you slide it back till it pops into place and you're locked. The next one, this is my heavy one. It's got all my supplies in it for recovery. You do the same thing with that. Just line that up and give it a slide. Now it's locked in. Third one in a row, do the same thing. Push down, slide back, and you're good to go. We'll see you out on the trail.